Hello, Ezra. It's Michael again from Israel. I wanted to do one last bonus about my Jewish expertise. One area that I've always been very, very interested in are biographies uh, and ideas and how those personalities impacted Judaism. And two of the great personalities that I know of in the 20th century who impacted way beyond the scope of their own movement are Mordecai Kaplan and Abraham Joshua Heschel. Now, Kaplan is a very, very interesting figure. He emerged from Lithuania. He was educated in a yeshiva in Vilna, in modern-day Vilnius. From his education, he learned that learning is very, very important, and that he noticed that he lived in a very, very well-developed Jewish civilization. What does it mean? That everyone spoke Yiddish. Everyone spoke the same language. Everyone lived in the same neighborhoods. Even secular Jews all had points of identification. They all saw themselves as Jews, regardless of their political beliefs, regardless of how how religious they were. They could be secular, they could be religious, they could be moderately religious, but at the end of the day, they all came together as Jews and identified each other as Jews in Lithuania. Now, in America, things were very, very different, and this shocked Kaplan because he didn't see a center of Jewish life. He didn't see a Jewish civilization here. And that Jewish civilization that Kaplan grew up in sadly no longer exists. But his youth in Vilna gave him a real academic rigor and a zeal for educational development. Kaplan realized early in his career that his new adapted country of America lacked the trademark signs of Jewish civilization, and he needed to create common points of agreement, such as language, such as cultural institutions. So it was very, very important that Kaplan create a rationalist school of thought within Judaism that would become the first branch of American Judaism that he referred to as Reconstructionist Judaism, which at first was a philosophical movement within conservative Judaism, but later would become its own movement, and saw halacha as a continuously evolving, that Judaism itself was constantly evolving, and that it was the embodiment of a civilization, and not just a religion to him. Now, as for Heschel, Abraham Joshua Heschel, he barely escaped the flames of the Holocaust, and he saw the woes of the American Jewish establishment as a spiritual one. He longed for the spiritual vitality of his Hasidic forefathers. Heschel saw the imperatives of the prophets and sages as an integral part of how he would create spiritual activism on the behalf of racial minorities during the civil rights movement. To summarize this belief, we should only look at a passage from his classic, his 1930s classic, called The Prophets, where he says that in a free society, few are guilty, but all are responsible. And so it's with this form of personal responsibility that Heschel took his moral imperative. Now, today, every Jewish community center is part of Kaplan's legacy. And American Judaism's commitment to civil rights is in no small way a legacy of Heschel's. In closing, I would like to say that in order to have a fuller, richer community, both are needed. It's not an irony that I believe that both Abraham Joshua Heschel and Mordecai Kaplan both taught at the fountainhead of conservative Judaism, JTS, the Jewish Theological Seminary. And although both of them came out of the conservative movement, both of them had very radical different interpretations, one being mystical and one being rational. So they had different points of disagreement. But in today's American Jewish society, it's very important, I believe, to integrate both personalities' ideas, and one should not subside the other. We need both the mystic, we need both the activist, and we also need the communal organizer, and the person who looks at, who takes a very firm stance to education. And we need, of course, Heschel's looking at everything from a mystical amazement. So mystical amazement, educational imperatives, rational mystic. We have to put all of them together in order to have a fuller community, in order to recreate the civilizations that both Heschel and Kaplan lost. Thank you.